Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining in to the Introduction to Java Programming stream. Super glad that y'all are here. Let me know where y'all are joining in from and what you've been doing so far today. Okay, I just updated it. Sorry, I just saw that. There's like a way to update links on Discord, and I keep like forgetting to update the actual link after like copying from somebody else's Discord announcement. So thank you, Crackers and Cheese. It is 12734. Those are the last four numbers. I think what shows all chats for new people. Yeah. Be sure to refresh if you don't see the opening screen for season launch. Yeah. So that is the opening. Sorry. That's the check-in link. What's on the screen right now, that's the correct check-in link. So make sure y'all are clicking on that. That will help you get to the proper place. Oh my gosh. I know it was a really long session and a really long technical stream as well. So I really appreciate you coming to all those parts and demoing your project. It was super cool. I loved it. Really glad that you got the sleep that you needed though. And I think it's really funny that you slept for 10 hours because I think the difference in the time between that stream and this stream is no, it's like 12 hours, but very close. But really glad that you're able to make it to this one. So yeah, that's the check-in link. I'm gonna take out the we're starting shortly, but I'll keep that up for a little bit while we've got some people coming in, and we will get started on our stream. So thank y'all for coming. This is the Introduction to Java Programming stream. We're just going to be writing some Java programs. So P13 Engineer Girl asks, what application should be used for this workshop? I have VS Code. Also, Replit isn't free after 3 repls. Yeah, no worries. We're going to be using VS Code, so you are set. You can use also like, I think it's called like IntelliJ or IntelliSense or something. I'm not sure. But you can use that as well. You can use any code editor, but the majority of my I guess instructions and tutorials are going to be in VS Code because I'm a big VS Code fan. So if you're on the stream and you haven't already downloaded VS Code, I would go ahead and do that just so that you can get the most amount of value from the screen. We're also going to be downloading Java extensions, but no worries. I'm assuming that y'all haven't done that already. So I've got thorough instructions, so totally no worries at all. But yes, good on you for getting some much needed rest. And I am not sure what this means, but oops. I'm going to keep the check-in link up while I go through the introduction, but thank you all so much for tuning into this workshop. So Java is everywhere. It's super important, and that's why I'm running this workshop. We use Java at the basis of a lot of different important I guess like companies and functions in society. So like any Android app that you're running runs Java. So if you've got an Android phone, Java is the basis for that. Things like ATMs and smart cards also run on Java. So Java is very, very important. And today we're going to cover the foundations of Java. So this is going to be a very beginner course. We're going to be going over like variable names and like how to type in Java and some object-oriented programming concepts. So this isn't going to be lecture style. So don't worry, you're not going to be like too bored during it. We're going to be programming during all of the lectures. So I'm going to basically the structure is going to be like I'm going to say something, I'm going to talk about something like a concept for a little bit, and then we'll switch over into coding for that specific concept. So nothing's going to be just straight like this is the lecture, you're not going to get a real world application. It's all going to be like kind of direct hands-on application after that. So hopefully that sounds good. I'm going to get started with the introduction. So hi, I'm Varshini. I'm a coach at Major League Hacking, and I've moved 13 times throughout my life. So that is a fun fact about me. I'm thinking about changing this fun fact. I feel like it's been there for a while, but maybe I'll change it for next Global Hack Week. I see a lot of new people just joined, so I'm going to keep that check-in link up for a little bit. I might take it down from the banner now because it's been a couple seconds, but let me know if anybody needs that check-in link and I'm more than happy to do it. But there's my little tag, Prashni from MLH, on my name. So yeah, that's my introduction. Feel free to introduce yourselves in the chat. I can highlight you and we can talk for a little bit too. This is a 2-hour stream, so we're in no rush to get like started. It's not going to be like the web dev sessions where I was like, we have to get this done now. This is going to be more relaxed and more of a learning session. I searched Java. Oh my God. Wait, let me do that. Okay, I don't know what computer you're on because I searched up Java and I got Java's like www.java.com. It looks like your computer's a little biased. It also might be depending on where you're from. I've been hearing that depending on what country you're in/from, like what country you're browsing in, you will get a lot of different search results depending on where it is. So like somebody was searching something up about a country and like positive results showed up for someone, but the negative results showed up for somebody else. So maybe it's the country. But you are going to learn not to hate Java after the session. You're going to love Java. So we're just going to jump right into setting up your Java environment. So I've kind of got 2 different parts to this. And it depends on what operating system you use. So I made the bold assumption that all of y'all are either in Windows or Mac, but that might not be true. And if it's not, please let me know and I will go and find your installation instructions. But I just assumed that most of you are Windows or Mac. Let me know right now if you're not there because I will definitely go and find those for you now. But I'm going to go over the Windows installation instructions first, and then I'll go over Mac. So if you're a Mac user, just hang tight for a second and I will get to you. Google's biased. Java does get a lot of hate. Okay, it's not deserved. I disagree with that. I really like Java. It's a little annoying, but Java's really good. And Google is biased. 404 is correct. Linux user. Okay, there you go. There's an extra OS system. So no worries. I will get those instructions for you. I'm going to do Windows and Mac first because I already have the installation instructions for those. And then give me 2 seconds and I'm sure there's some like online link. If you don't want to wait that long, feel free to just like search up Java installation instructions for Linux users. But I will get to you. So if you don't want to, just wait. So we're going to go to the Oracle JDK website. So I'll post the link for this in the chat. And this is going to be where both, I guess I can also do the downloads in parallel. It's honestly basically the same thing. I'm just misspelling technologies. But yeah, you can, regardless of what user you are, you can go to this link. Actually, let me check. Oracle's, I have it for Linux users as well. Not sure. Oh, it does. Yes. Okay. So Flying Girl, no worry. I have. Okay. That's great. Wonderful. Okay. But even if you didn't, and if you are a Linux user that didn't speak up, we have in this link, they have download instructions for Linux, Mac OS, and Windows for downloading Java. So feel free to go on those links, all of you. So basically what you're going to do, let me screen share and show y'all what we're going to be doing. Okay, so we're on this website. That's where the link leads you. And we're going to click on the latest version. So it's going to be like Linux, Mac OS, or Windows. So if you're Windows, you're going to obviously click on the Windows section, and then you're going to choose the Windows 64 X4 installer. So that's going to be this one. I'm not really sure what the other ones are. I just know that you have to download that. So if you have another reason that you want to download something else, feel free. As long as you can get it downloaded on your computer, that's all good. So that's what you're going to do for Windows. Download it and open the .exe file to start the installation. So I'm not going to do that because I don't have a Windows, but just download that file and then double click on it wherever you've downloaded it, and then just follow the prompts. Java is pretty good about giving you really clear their installation instructions. And then one thing is that you have to make sure that the set Java home variable box is checked. That's going to be really important when we're using VS Code or any other IDEs that you have installed on your computer. So just make sure that that is set, and then just obviously click finish once your installation is done. So let me know once you all have downloaded that. Once you're done with that, you can open up command prompt. So like go to your start menu, type in CMD, and type in this command. Actually, I think I'm gonna open up, so like I had this running document for my sessions for the past couple of days, and I actually thought that was super useful because that way I could just copy and paste. So let me do that really quick. Yeah, instead of typing everything into the chat like a maniac, I'm just gonna put it on a Google Doc. Let's call this intro to Java. Share. Sorry, I probably should have done this before the stream, but I was like, oh, I don't need it this time. Turns out I do. So here's that link for the doc where I'm going to be typing the instructions. Yes. Oh, sorry. Okay. So basically, you're going to do Java dot. Okay. Oh my God, it's autocorrecting. Okay. Dog. Okay. Version. And you're going to put this. I'm having trouble with the keyboard today. You're going to put this in your command prompt. CMD in start menu. And that's for Windows users. And you should see something that says like Java version 24, something similar to that. And then also you should try Java C version. This is going to make sure that your compiler is working. So just do both of those and you'll be good to go for the Windows users. And actually, let me just show you all that doc really quick in case anyone hasn't been able to open up that link. Here's the doc here. This is going to be for Windows users. Let me just and then we've got our Mac users. Mac users, your process is going to be very, very similar. Honestly, you don't really need that, whatever. And yeah, I will go over the VS Code installations after we do the Java, just because the VS Code is the same for Mac and Windows. So I'm going to hop on over to Mac's instructions. And in Mac, you're going to first want to check the chip type of your Mac, because that's going to change the type of Java file that you download. This is something I recently discovered. But you're going to want to open up your terminal. If you don't know where that is, click on your Launchpad. That's like the big section with like all the apps, and just search up terminal. And you're going to type into your terminal. Oh my God. Terminal, and you're going to put in uname. And so it's either going to say X at 86 underscore 64. And if it says that, then you have an Intel-based Mac. And if it says ARM 64, you have an Apple Silicon Mac. So like M1, M2, M3 chips. So based on that, go back to the website, click on Mac OS. And if you have an Intel, so that's going to be that 8664 version, you're going to want to download the x64 DMG installer. If you have a Silicon, so M1, M2, M3, you got ARM64 in your terminal, you're going to want to download the ARM64 version, obviously, because like ARM64, download the ARM64 version, and again, download that DMG. So you can try compressed archive if you want. It doesn't download that well, so I would just download the DMG installer. It's just easier. Yeah, and then just download that file and then double click it to open it, just like the Windows users, and run the run the file, run the installation one more time, and then just follow the default prompts like you've been doing. And then you're going to open up your terminal just like we did for the Mac users, except for this time you're going to be typing some different things. Basically the same thing though. Actually, I'm totally lying. You're doing the exact same thing. So this is going to be in your terminal again. Ooh, that is actually not the same thing. So where you type that is going to be different for Mac users. So for Mac users, we're going to be in the terminal. Hopefully those installation instructions make sense. That is it to download for the Java, or to download Java. So let me know if any of y'all have any questions. I think that in the time that I talked, you should have been able to download it. So let me know if you haven't. But I'm going to scooch on over to VS Code installation, just in case some of you don't have VS Code installed. Like, you definitely can use whatever IDE you want to. I'm just like hesitant to suggest other IDEs because I really think that VS Code is one of the best IDEs out there, especially if you're beginning to learn how to code or you're starting to build more complex projects. I really like VS Code, so I'm going to plug VS Code there. But feel free to use any other IDE. So we're just going to go to the VS Code website. That's just going to be code.visualstudio.com. And we've got that here. Oh, sorry. Oh my God, I missed all these comments. This is so on me. Whew. Hi, Cutie. No worries that you joined late. Just make sure you go to this document link. This is where we've got the installation instructions for, this is going to be like the running document for this session for any information that you need. So if you have a Windows, download, or actually you're going to need that link earlier. Go to this link and download the Java version depending on what computer you have. If you got Windows, follow the installation instructions on the Windows tab. If you've got Mac OS, follow these installation instructions on the Mac OS tab. And then I've got prompts that you should be running in either your command prompt if you're Windows or terminal if you're a Mac, to make sure that you have that downloaded. So hopefully that helped. Let me know if you're confused. We're just downloading Java right now. Yay, Flying Girl. Correct. Adam Leach using this link. I'm not sure what that means. Let me know if you need something. Can't tell. Yeah, but we're just getting started. Install Java and then join the party. Woo. I currently have version. Okay, so you're going to need to update your version, I think, because I think it's running on 24. Off the wall, could you confirm if you're a Mac or a Windows user? Hi. We just need to download the DMG. Don't download both. It's just going to take up unnecessary. Oh, I hope I answered that question in time. Please tell me you didn't download both. But if you did, there's absolutely no worries. You can just delete one of them. Don't download the compressed archive. Yay, perfect. On Java, hey, I really like Java. Yeah, no, I agree with that. Java syntax is kind of annoying sometimes. I personally find the semicolon really annoying because it's like you can't do anything without the semicolon at the end and it breaks everything if you don't have it. So yeah, but Java is great. It just has some kind of bugs and growing pains, but that's true of every language. Java hater. Oh my gosh. Okay, good. No, I'm not going to give you a reason to hate. You're going to love Java after the session. You're going to be like, Java is my new favorite programming language. And I'm going to check in on you at the end of the session and you're going to tell me that you love Java. Yeah, see, 404 is correct. Java's cool. I just followed this step. Yay. Okay, perfect. Glad to see that your Java version has updated. Perfect. That is great. Success story right there. So I'm going to assume that nobody else has any installation problems, but put it in the chat if you do. I will check back a little bit more frequently. I was like scrolled up and I couldn't see the new messages. But yeah, we're going to be downloading Visual Studio Code. So it is this link. And we're going to obviously just download it. It says download for Mac OS for me because I'm on a Mac. Hopefully it says download for whatever system you're on. But yeah, just download VS Code. And then once you've downloaded it, open it up. We're going to add in an extension for our like project today. It's not really necessary, but I'm doing it just because like it's a good practice when you start coding more complex things in Java, that you have a these extensions so that you can use them a little bit easier. So I'm gonna screen share VS Code with y'all. My God, I've got like 70,000 tabs open. Okay, so this is my VS Code tab. So we're gonna go over here to this fifth icon. This is the extensions tab, and we're gonna type in Java extension pack. Boom. It's gonna be my Microsoft. Obviously, I've got it enabled, or I've already got it installed, but you're gonna have an install button. Just click install, and then you can just create the projects and run them directly in VS Code. So that's 10 out of 10. This is the extension pack for Java by Microsoft. Just again, so those are the basic installation instructions that you'll need so far. Don't see any questions, let me know. Oh my God, I saw some more people hop on. Yay! Hi, y'all. Thank you for joining. If you're joining late, we just installed Java and VS Code onto our computers. So if you don't have Java or VS Code installed, no worries at all. We're going to, let me actually share that document one more time. I love seeing you people join. Oh my gosh, this is great. Join before we get too deep into the session. Oh my God, the numbers just keep going up. Yippee. Okay, so we've got Windows users. Oh, let me do, before we go back to Windows users. Oh, I see some more comments. No, okay. Okay, wait. I promise I was on dark mode, but then I was copying code yesterday. I swear, you can watch my intro to web development stream part 4. I was on dark mode. That was my most recent stream. And then I turned it to light mode because the text was copying weird. So I will turn it back to dark mode. Just wait. I promise. Yay. Glad to see that you got installed. Whoopee. Whoopee. Yippee. Okay, man. Come on. I'm changing it right now. Y'all, you're so mean. Hold on. Okay, wait. This is, I get bullied into changing. Okay, wait. I have dark mode gen. Okay, wait. The original reason why I had light mode was because I'm a coach and I go to hackathons to do demos. We do like Gemini demos on stage. So I like change it to light mode so that it can be shown on the presenter, like the presentation PowerPoint, because dark mode isn't visible. And then I just forget to change it back. So my bad. I changed it to dark mode. Yes, you should install the extension pack for Java. Go to VS Code, and in extensions, that's going to be the extension pack for Java by Microsoft. Make sure it's by Microsoft. Sometimes people will use the similar names and scam you. So don't do that. But yeah, for those of you joining us new, this is our Running Google document, and this is the link for that. Make sure that you click on that and open that up now because I'm going to take it away soon. And I don't see all of you on that. So this, the reason why I want you to have it open is because I'm not always going to be screen sharing the Google Doc because I might be like typing on VS Code or showing you another tab, and I want you to be able to have this access to this document while I'm typing on it. So open that up, put it on tab, and then just like have it in the background. Yes, this is the tab. This is the link that you'll need to download your Java, and you'll get here. If you have a Linux, use the Linux, and if you have a Mac, follow the installation instructions, and then if you have a Windows, same thing as well. So for here, you're going to want to check your Java version if you're a Mac user, and oh wait. No, these are for Windows users, sorry. Windows users, you just want to put this in your command prompt to make sure that your Java downloaded properly. Same thing with Mac. But for Mac, you're going to run this in your terminal first to check what type of computer you have. If it returns ARM, you're going to download ARM. If it returns like 86, 64, other one. And you're going to be running the DMG for both of those, not the compressed archive one. Sorry, I'm like trying to remember if there's anything else that I said to do. And then download VS Code, and then go to the extensions and download the extension pack that I was talking about earlier. Hopefully that makes sense, and hopefully I covered everything. You just need to have Java, extensions, and VS Code downloaded. You will know something's wrong if when I'm like, oh, okay, run this code, and your computer's like, I don't know what's going on, then you'll know that you did something wrong. So we will run into that problem when we run into it. Defend Java, but not like, okay, look. I genuinely promise I use dark mode. Like my computer is on dark mode. I can't defend light mode either. It's just for visibility purposes, but I swear it's changed to dark mode. Y'all are crazy. Ooh, okay. I'm glad to see the excitement. Oh, yippee. Okay. So my face is back. Let me go to visuals. Oh my god. I've got my like 7,000 tabs. Fuck, I keep losing my code. Okay, there it is. Okay. I hope you're happy now that I have dark mode on. Gosh, temperamental people. So what you're gonna do is now we've got like our VS Code. I got my extensions downloaded and I've got my file. So we're gonna go into like a little bit of instructions. So let me go back to the slides. I made pretty slides for y'all for this purpose. So we set up our Java environment, and now we're going to understand the basic syntax of Java. So if you weren't here when I talked about this initially, basically the way that I'm structuring this, if you've watched some of my previous streams, it's going to be a little different. This is more of like a lecture, learn a new programming language type of stream workshop. So I'm going to be teaching concepts, and then we're going to be implementing those concepts. So you're going to code along with me in VS Code, and we're going to create tangible code that you can run in your terminal and see the output of. So every time I switch back to the PowerPoint, that's because I'm going to be like talking and presenting. So if something gets boring, let me know. I have ways to make things interesting, so just let me know. I thrive on feedback, so let me know. But now we're going to talk a little bit just about Java and its like very core basics, so that you understand what we're going to be doing when we're doing it. So Java programs are organized into classes. So they're not always organized into classes, but you typically should be doing it just for readability and organization. So each file usually has one class, and the name should match the file name. So something you'll notice that is really, really interesting is if you try making a class name in a file and it's not that file name, you won't be able to use the class. That was something that really annoyed me when I first started Java, because I would like make a file name without thinking about the class name, and then I try to set the class name, and then I'd be like, oh my god, now I have to go change the file name. So it's like a bit of a hassle. So I would recommend knowing what you want for your class name before you make that file. But if not, you can always just rename files. It's like really not that deep anymore. But yeah. Then you've got your main method, and your main method is kind of like Java's front door. So it's like the front door to a house. It's kind of where your Java program and your program in general just starts. So it is a very, very significant similar line. So let me go back to that Google document and show y'all what that line is. Okay, so public static, oh my god, I'm really not, spelling's got me down today, string args, and then like whatever, like blah, 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 blah. And then an ending semicolon, or oh my god, not a semicolon, bracket. So let me actually separate the installation instructions. So this is going to be your main method, and this is where you're going to be running most of your code. So each instruction is going to be called like a statement, and it's going to end with a semicolon. So you might have heard me complaining about this earlier. This is where all of your instructions will be. They're going to be ending with a semicolon. That's just how Java works. And also Java is case sensitive. So like if you have capital S for system versus like lowercase s, it's not going to work. So make sure that you are careful when you're typing. And if you'll notice these curly braces / brackets, you've probably seen them in other programming languages, but if not, curly braces basically just wrap blocks of code. So it wraps like a body of a class or a method. So make sure that you're not missing a brace or a semicolon. That's usually one of like top 5 beginner mistakes that I see happen. So if your program is breaking and not working before you're like, oh my god, like I've screwed something up, just check to make sure you've got all your semicolons and braces. One big reason to love Java is Minecraft is made on Java. So yeah, that's true. I really love Minecraft, and Minecraft is made on Java. So, I mean, if you love Minecraft, you love Java. So for all of you Java haters in the chat, if you love Minecraft, then you're kind of contradicting yourself there. So that's just like basics of Java syntax, and then just like kind of getting like a little started with that. So while we're on the topic of basics, we should write our first Hello World program. So if you are in the world of software development, but you haven't heard of this before, or you're just getting introduced into software development, we usually write a program called Hello World whenever you learn a new programming language. And that's because like people say hello world as like, oh my God, like I'm starting a new life, like I'm starting a new part of my life. And you are too, because now you're learning Java. So we're gonna go switch back over into VS Code and we're going to write our first program. So let's get ready for that. Okay, so I don't really know why I called my file yip.java. Feel free to call your file whatever you want. I think I was trying to do yippee and then I ran out of time, so I just called it yip.java. Oh no. Okay, just because you play Bedrock doesn't mean you can't play Minecraft. So hop on that, play Minecraft, and you will like Java by the end of the session. I promise you. So you are going to click File, and you're going to click New File, and you're going to type whatever file name you want. Just make sure you do .java at the end. That's what signifies to your computer and VS Code that you want to be using a Java file for this. So we're going to type it. You're going to type along with me. I will like highlight the absolute best way to learn is to work hands-on and do something while someone is teaching you. So I think it's like 1 a.m. ET. Let me just tell what time. Is it IST? Istanbul. Okay, that's not what I meant. 11:01 p.m. Okay, wait, it's not that bad. But if you are in a time zone where it's like super late for you and you're really tired, I know that the temptation to just watch the stream and not really like do too much is there. But I will say, if you have the energy, definitely follow along with the code. The best way to learn is to engage and put your hands on it so that like when you type it over and over again, eventually you'll remember like that like public static void main like string args. Like it's like really a hard line and it's very hard to remember, but if you type it over and over again, it'll make sense and you'll just get it into your head and you'll be able to code Java like a native in no time. So follow along with me while I type, but we're going to do public. That's what we are going to declare our, so usually you can do public or private. People usually do public. We're just going to do public for now. I'm not going to go into like details of why public or private because this is an intro session. But we're going to do public class and see, you've already got that error top one. So if I'm going to call it hello world, I can't because I've already called my file yip. So now it's got to be public class yip. So for all of these examples, my class is going to be yip. We are using VS Code all the time. For Python, only we use PyCharm and not for others. You can use any IDE like for your code. I just really like using VS Code, but you can use Python in VS Code. You just have to get the Python extension. You can use PyCharm. I think people do prefer to use PyCharm for Python, but yeah, we just use VS Code because it's a simpler environment where you can add support for a lot of different programming languages just by installing extensions. And it's also just a really nice editor. Like, you can't lie to me and tell me that you don't like the look of the VS Code, but feel free to use something else. Hopefully that helped with your concern. But yeah, we're going to call our public class. Just make sure whatever you call the file name, that's here. And so we're going to do public. So we're going to do that big line that I showed you, that method header. We're going to do public static void main. And we're going to do string, our brackets, and args. So that's our arguments. We're going to do open brace and system.out.println. So that's another thing. It's a little bit convoluted to try to tell your, what is it called? To try to tell, I don't know why it keeps doing X. All right, man. It's kind of convoluted to tell your Java system to print something for you compared to other programming languages. But if you keep typing it over time, you will be able to understand it and get it a little bit deeper. Hi, girl. Flashback from previous Hack Week. We all confessed that yes. I think that was you that said that. Someone said that on one of my streams that VS Code is the Bible for all developers. I think that was you. Didn't you make an Instagram edit about that? I can't remember if that was you, but yes, VS Code is the Bible for all developers, and it is really important. So you're just gonna have to hop on that train. So this is our basic, just like a quick little Hello World program. So what this code is doing is we're defining a class within Hello World, and inside it we've got our main method here, and that's our starting point. So this line is also just like Java's way of saying of print whatever I've got in these parentheses to the main screen. So we're going to try that. We're just going to click this run button, and boom, there you go. We've got my hello world, and hopefully that showed up on your screens. Could I please get a thumbs up or any appropriate emoji in the chat if y'all got that working as well, because that means you run your first code in Java, and that's super cool. So send those emojis in. Yes, it was you. I knew it. Yep. You are caught. Yeah, because I think it was yeah, I was trying to figure out how to get it because I remember we were having trouble sending that link like over the stream. So I was asking another MLHer about like how to get that link, and he ended up sending it to like the person that runs all the streams. So you have been caught. Ooh, yay! Glad to see some thumbs up. Hello to Maroon, Roseanne. Oh, what is that? I like that emoji. Very cute. Yay. Okay, good to see some thumbs up. Put some thumbs down if you're not getting it. I'd love to help. Yeah, let me know if there's an error or if something's not working. I can help you troubleshoot. I'm very good at debugging and troubleshooting. I've got all of you. I'm going to assume that that's a yes. Creepers are bad, though. So, oh my god, we just got a lot more people on Twitch. Hello, hello. Hi, y'all. Oh my god, it's going up. Whoa, what's happening? Did another stream end? Wait, no, I'm the only stream going on right now. Oh my gosh, this is crazy. Hi, y'all. We are right now, if you're just joining us, we are working on our introduction to Java, and we are printing out our first hello world statement. So just copy that code on the screen, download Java, download VS Code, and make sure you download those extensions as well. Let me know if you just joined and you're a little bit lost, and I can help you. No, I don't want that link. I have the link. Don't worry. I figured it out. Don't worry. Yay. Good to see you've got it worrying. Oh my god. I really hope you don't mean 100 views. I'm going to be really sad if that video went viral because I'm like featured very heavily on it. That's disappointing. But super glad to see that most of y'all got it. Let me know if it didn't work for you and I can help. But there you go. You have programmed your first Java code. So 10 out of 10, great job. And we're gonna go back to the slides. So we're going back into teaching mode. So we're gonna talk just a little bit about Java data types. So this is something that's gonna be really important for the rest of the session and also for your future in Java. You're gonna need to know what data types are. So Java's data types are basically just the basic building blocks of information. I'm in the MLH streams. Not sure what that means. Sorry, I'm confused. But Java is basically a strongly typed language. You'll have strongly typed languages and you'll have weakly typed languages. So Java is strongly typed. And what this means is that every variable has to have a declared type. So this means that when you are creating a variable, you can't just create a variable and like call it a day. You have to add a data type to it. That's just the way that Java works, which is kind of why some people find it to be a little bit of a hassle. But let's take a quick look at some of the primitive data types. So I'm just going to list like 8. I think like 8 is a good number off the top of my head. We had 100 plus viewers on day 1. I want to say this. Oh, okay, great. Yay. So our data types, we've got int, double, char, boolean, byte, short, long, and float. Those are the ones that I'm going to cover. Don't worry, I'm going to like cover what they are. So we're going to start off with int. So for each of these data types, I'm going to talk about like what their size is and what they are and an example of them. So for int, the size is 4 bytes, and int integer. Int is an integer number, and an example of an int 42, like 50, 60, something like that. And then we've got doubles. So doubles have a size of 8 bytes, and doubles are decimal numbers. So doubles would be like, think about like pi, like 3.14, 3.15, things like that. And also just a heads up, I'm kind of like talking to you. The reason why I didn't put like all this information on the slide so you can see it is because I'm going to be talking a lot on each slide. Like I think there's only like 15 slides in this presentation. So most of it's just going to be me talking to you so that you're not like reading and trying to listen. And yeah, hopefully I like made the slides a little bit appealing to look at while I'm talking, but let me know. um, and then also we've got our char data type. So char is going to be our 2 bytes for our size, and char stands for char. Like it's like people will say car, but it's char, and it stands for character. So it's going to be 2 bytes, and it's just a single character. An example is just like the letter A, the letter B, the letter C, and those are chars. Then we've got our booleans. Booleans are 1 bit size, and they are either true or false values. So it's kind of a unique variable because it's not really something that we see in daily life, but it's just true or false. And those are the only values that the Boolean can take. It can't take any other string values or anything like that. It's just true or false. Then we've got our byte. Funny enough, byte is 1 byte, and a byte is a small integer, so it's negative 128 to 127. So an example of this would just be 100. People don't usually use bytes in day-to-day code. It's usually just integer and decimal, but there can be some useful uses for it. And then we've got our shorts, and those are sizes of 2 bytes, and it's just like a shorter integer. If you remember, so an integer is an int data type is 4 bytes. That's their data size, but a short is just 2 bytes. So it's the exact same thing. It's just using up less size, less space, less size. Yeah, it's a smaller size. Then we've got our longs, and our longs are a size of 8 bytes, and we use a big integer for long. So we use like an L at the end. So that's going to be like 1 million, and it'll be like an L. And then finally, we've got our floats, and that's a size of 4 bytes, and that's our decimal. We're going to use an F at the end. So it'll be like 3.14F. So those are our data types. Hopefully I didn't get too, it wasn't too much, but later on we'll go into like reference types like string and object. Those are a little bit cooler, but these are just a little bit of some examples for your data types that you can use. So let me yes, there is a hierarchy for your data types. They're kind of divided into 2 different groups. You've got your primitive data types, which are like byte, short, and long, and then your non-primitive data types, which are like string, arrays, and classes. So that's kind of that there for like your basic hierarchy. And then for typecasting, for those of y'all that don't know, typecasting is just like converting one data type into another data type. It's either done manually or automatically. So you can convert something into like a larger data type or a smaller data type. That's like making something bigger or smaller, or you can just convert it from like decimal to integer or something like that. Hopefully that answered your question. So those are data types. That's like a quick little introduction. And I know I said we would do like an exercise or a workshop for every slide, but for these like couple of introduction slides that are just concepts, I'm not going to do that. But we will get into the code, I promise. We're going to make some really cool programs. So now we're going to talk about variables and constants. So variables, you have definitely heard of variables before if you've worked in any coding languages, or even if you like went to the HTML or not the the web dev sessions that I was running previously. So variables are like little containers that are holding data. So to declare a variable, you just write the type followed by the name of the variable. So typically you would write something like age equals 6, but because remember I was saying that Java is strongly typed, you need to include the type of the variable. So you would do like int age equals 6 or something like that, or like double price equals 7.7 for like the price of eggs or something like that. So you can assign a value to a variable when you're declaring it, so when you're writing it, or you could do that later. It doesn't really matter. Sometimes people will prefer to do it when they're writing the variable, just so like less work later on, but sometimes you don't know the value of the variable. So we're going to be addressing both of those cases in our exercises later on. So we have a couple of naming rules for variables. They're generally very lax. Like you can usually just write whatever you want, but there's a couple of rules. So some of those rules are like you have to start with a letter. You can't start with or letter or an underscore. You can't start with a number. So it couldn't be like eight eggs or something like that. It has to be like eggs or underscore eggs. I don't know why I'm using eggs. It's just like I went to the store and I bought eggs, so it's like on my mind. But you also can't use any spaces in your variable name. So if you want to do like milk and eggs, sorry guys, you can write like milk and eggs like one word, or with underscores you just can't write spaces. And you're also going to have to do camel case. So previously in other programming languages you might be using underscores in your languages or underscore in your variable names, but for Python, Java specifically, you're going to want to use camel case. And what that is every time you start a new word, you capitalize that first letter. So if we were doing like variables and variables, it would be like and then capital V variables. So you want to use camel case. And also if you want to value / variable that can't change, you have to use final in your declaration to make it a constant. So for example, a lot of examples that people will use for the final variable is like you can do like final double pi, and then it'll be like 3.14159, whatever the rest of the digits are. And that's because the value of pi will never change. And what's the point of making it into something that can change when you can just call it final? So if you try to reassign the value of pi, so if you try to do like pi equals 7 later, Java will not let you do that, and it'll throw an error. So it'll make sure that you are doing what it wants you to do. Just a little bit about variables and constants. So now we're going to talk about operators, and we're going to do like a little bit of math. I'm not sure if y'all are in, sorry. I'm not sure if y'all are in university or another stage of your life, but if you're in university, grad school, undergraduate, high school, whatever age, whatever stage of life you're in, you've probably done math. And even if you're past that age, if you're in like a job, if you're working to find a job, you're probably using math in your day-to-day life. So math is a super universal topic. So Java has basic operators, kind of just like a calculator. So you can think about Java's operators very similar to calculators. So it's got arithmetic, and that's kind of what we're going to be mainly focusing on. So if you want to do addition, you just use the plus sign, like the plus. And if you want to do subtraction, use the minus. So it's just going to be the minus sign. If you want to do multiplication, it's going to be the asterisk. I know I was trying to do hand symbols with that, but like I don't think I can. Yeah, that's not going to work. But multiplication is your asterisk / your snowflake symbol. Oh, java.dev is a really good resource. What is java.dev? Damn, I searched it up and it's not coming up. Java.dev. It's not coming up for me. Maybe it's a different URL. Sorry, I can't find it. Let me know if there's a specific URL that's at. And then you've got division. Division is just going to be your slash. It's going to be this way. Oh, it's dev.java. Okay. Yeah, I have a section for, oh yeah, no worries. I've got a section at the end for further resources, so you read my mind, and we will be going to dev.java for the end as well, so we'll add that in. You've got division, that's going to be like this symbol. I can never understand like the difference between a backslash and a forward slash. Let me check that really quick. This is a back. Okay, so this is a forward slash. So the forward slash is going to be division. And then you're going to have your percentage symbol, and that's going to be modulus. So modulus is kind of a complex concept, but it's basically just the remainder of two numbers. So if you use it when you're trying to find the remainder, that's what modulus will return for you. So for example, we're going to go back. Actually, I think I'll just use VS Code because I like VS Code better. We're not coding anything, but feel free to type this along with me if you want. So let's say we're doing like int sum and we're doing 5 plus 3 and we try running that, or 5, sorry, that's 5 plus 9. If we do 5 plus 9, that'll be 14. So the output of this would be 14. Oh, and side note, if you want to write comments in Java, it's very simple. You just do the 2 forward slashes and you've got your comment. And I forgot a semicolon. Always remember your semicolons. So that's one way that we can do addition. If we want to do int remainders, so this is a way of using that modulus that I was talking about earlier. So say we do 10 modulo, so people will do like modulo, modulus. What do you all think the result of this will be? So it's just going to be the remainder of this definition, so or this division. So put it in the chat what you think the answer will be. I'm sorry, like I know this is like basic math, but like it's very interesting to think about it in Java. But if y'all feel like it's stupid, I will just give you the answer too. Yeah, if you mean from scratch, like this session from scratch, you're gonna want to get Java and VS Code downloaded, as well as so you'll use the Oracle link from Java, so that's gonna be on here. Click on so it's gonna be at this link. This is going to be our document for the session. So go to that link. I've got the Oracle link to download Java on there, and then follow the instructions based on if you're a Mac or a Windows user. And I have prompts that you can run in either your command prompt or your terminal to make sure that your Java is installed, and then download VS Code if you don't have it already, and then make sure your VS Code is running. And then just copy the information that we've been, the VS Code that I have up here. I can't really cover the concepts that I've already covered because we're about 15 minutes into the session. We're almost halfway through. So if something's not making sense, feel free to ask me for sure. But you might have to go back and watch the previous parts of the session a little bit earlier. But let me know if something's not making sense. You're really close. So that would be the result if we just divided it. But coniest dev is right here. 10 mod 3 is 1. So the reason for that is because when we divide 10 by 3, like I don't know what the wording is, but when you like see how many times 3 goes into 10, it goes into 10 3 times. So there's going to be a remainder of 1 because it doesn't divide evenly. So that's what your modulus is doing. Yep, you're right. See, you fixed your problem. We're all good. So that will be the modulus. So y'all are correct. It is 1. Thank you for responding, y'all. And you can also do assignments. So we can do like int age equals 10 if somebody's 10 years old. And also we can do like a couple of other assignment features. So we can do equals. So obviously equals, that's setting something equal to something else. We can do plus equals, which is like so actually I'll just change it up here. So we can do equal, we can do plus equal. So that's just adding, Oh, it's because I don't have, oops, sorry, y'all. So we can do age plus equals 10. So what this line does is it's saying your age is already 10 and dog. I don't know why it's throwing random errors. Hello. Bro, what? Okay, whatever. So if you do plus equals, that's going to be adding 10 to this. You can do the same thing with minus equals. It's subtracting 10 from the current variable. Same thing with the multiplication symbol and equals. You're going to be multiplying it by 10 and then dividing it by 10. So you can do those operators as opposed to doing like age and then age plus 10. Like that's just a quicker and easier way to do that. Age equals age plus, yeah. So that's exactly what that would mean if you were to do age plus equals 10 or just the age plus 10. Yeah, so that's a couple of assignment operators that we can use. And so then that variable would update. So now age has the variable of 20 if we were to do that. Then you've also got your logical operators. So you can do and. So these are going to be the ampersand symbol. So that will be and. We can do the parallel bars. That's going to be or. And if we do the exclamation point, that's going to be not. So those are our logical operators. And we're going to be using those in a little exercise coming up. So be tuned, stay tuned. So yeah, those are the basics of the operators in Java. And so now we're going to talk about like input and output basics. There's a lot of different ways that we can address input and output. So far we've been telling Java what to print. And it's important that we let users like respond. So like we just have things being displayed out to the console, but we also want our users to be able to interact with that as well. So Java uses a kind of unique way to get input from the users. To read user input using Java, we're going to be using the scanner class. And that's what I was saying about earlier. Like we have a couple of examples of classes. Scanner is one of those. And that's going to help us capture or like take whatever the user types into the console. So I'm going to show y'all how that works. We're going to do an example here. I'm going to delete this. Well, actually, I'm just going to delete all of it because this is like a working document. But we're going to, I'm just going to restart it. I'm just going to restart it. You're going to import, and you're going to do import java.util.scanner. And I was just gonna say not used. Okay, so you're gonna want to do this because this is how we import the scanner class, and this is how we get that information needed to use the scanner. So we've done that, and then we're gonna do public class, and we're gonna call it whatever the name of your file is. I don't know why mine is called yip, but I've called it yip, so that's what we're gonna go with. And we're gonna use that same line that we've been using, public static void main. We're gonna do string args. And then we're going to use our curly braces to say that we're going to start that. So once we've done that, we're going to create a scanner object, and that scanner object is going to read input from the user's keyboard. So we're going to call it scanner. So we're calling the scanner class. That's usually how it works. We're going to call the scanner class, and we're going to call this scanner for user. Feel free to call it whatever you want. Just make sure it follows the naming conventions. And we're going to do new because this is how we instantiate objects from a class. And we're going to do new scanner. We're going to do system.in. So you might see a yellow line here. That's just because it hasn't, sometimes Java or just VS Code in general will give you yellow lines. And that's just because it's like, oh, you created it, but you haven't used it, but we're going to use it in a little bit. So just ignore the yellow line. The only time when you have to fix something is if you see a red line, then something's going wrong. So now we're going to do system.out.print. And we can ask the user for anything. I'm just going to do a quick little, like, what's your, like, personalize the name response. So enter your name. And you've got that going. I'm going to add a space here so there's a gap in between the output. And then we're going to instantiate a variable. So I know we didn't talk about the string like variable, but this is another data type that we can use. So I'm going to do string, and I'm going to call it name for our variable because that's what it's storing. And I'm going to do scanner, and a method that we can use in the scanner, oh, sorry, it's not called scanner. So it's called scanner for user. The method that we can use in the scanner is next line. So the next line method within the scanner class waits for the user input, and it reads the line that the user enters. So this is the notation that you'll see a lot in Java. Basically what this is doing is it's doing like class name dot method. But instead of class name scanner, we're going to be using the scanner for user object, because here we have the scanner class, and here we are making an object or an instance out of that scanner class, and we're calling that object instance variable, like object slash instance slash variable scanner for user. So now since this variable is an instance of the scanner class, we can use that object and use dot notation to call that method. And also, if something isn't explained clearly, or like not from this stream, but just like in general, if you're trying to use a method and you're not sure what it means, if you just like hover over it, it'll tell you what that method means. So feel free to do that if something is confusing in the future. So we've done our string name, we've got that going, and now we're going to print it out back to the user. So we're going to do system.out.println, and we're going to do hello. And now instead of just saying hello, we're going to put a comma and we're going to add the name variable that we had here. So you might notice that I'm using a plus and you're like, oh my God, like this isn't math. Why are we using a plus all of a sudden? So the reason for that is a funny little thing called concatenation. So it sounds like a big word, but basically concatenation is just when you're adding two different things together. So like a string plus a variable, a string plus a number. There's like typecasting, really complex concepts. But basically all that you need to know is that if you do a plus, it'll concatenate or add two things together. Here in this case, since both of these types are strings, so you've got your hello string and you've got your name variable, which is of type string, you don't have to concern yourself with like typecasting or any other problems. So we're just adding that output to it. So that's the end of that code. So we're just going to click run. And you can see here, it's asking me enter your name. Sorry for like all this. I was trying to find a way to like make my code in a folder that wouldn't dox me because like I doxed myself on another stream accidentally the other day. So I was trying to do that and now it's just like garbage show. Like I don't know what this is all, but anyways, I'm gonna enter my name. I'm just going to type it, and basically where my cursor is in the terminal. I'm typing it in the terminal, and I'm going to hit enter on my computer, and now it says hello, and it's got my name there, which is perfect. So if any of y'all want to give me your names, and I can put them in the terminal, and then you can see the terminal popping that up on the screen. Feel free to do so. I know that you are all following along and are doing this on your computer, but if you want to see it pop up on the live stream, send me your name, and I'll put it in there. But if you don't want to, all good. Ooh, okay. Okay, regional. So let's just run that again. Yay! There you go. It's running up for you. And you can also ask for different things. So you can put like, enter your age. And I'll put like, I'm obviously not 92. Oh, okay, wait, actually, I lied. So you can't, I'm gonna do next in. There you go, there's some debugging for you there. So next line is just for string outputs. You have to use, oops. Okay. Sorry. Yeah, okay. Okay, yeah, sorry. Yeah, that was a lot of debugging really quick, but let me explain what all of that debugging just was, what I just did. So basically, I put enter your age just to try a different prompt, and I had to change the data type to int because it's now storing an integer, and I had to change the method to next int instead of next line because now we're changing the data type that the scanner is receiving from string to int. And then obviously I changed the output prompt, but it's still able to do that. So feel free to customize and try some things out and ask your user for different things, and it'll do that for you. I see some other names, so let me go back and Control Z and go back to the name so I can put y'all's names in. Irfin, you've got to let me know how to pronounce that. I feel like I've seen you in a lot of my streams, but I have no idea how to pronounce it. So we've got Irfin. Hello, there you go. You've got it pulled up. Yippee! I can't find a run symbol. Okay, so if you're on VS Code, there should be a run symbol in this upper right corner. Like it's going to be like a play, like a little triangle, like a play image. Otherwise, you can click run and you can just do run without debugging in the upper left-hand corner. My code has a red line under the colon after the string symbol, and I'm not sure how to fix it. After the colon, after the string symbol. Can you send me your code? Just like copy, not the whole thing, but just the line that's running the red line. Send that to me and I can help you debug. Con Dev is correct. Yes, you can try pressing F5. That will work. Hoping that's a happy emoji. The face is too small for me to see. Yeah, this might also be the problem. Make sure that you're copying the like using, like typing exactly how I've written, you want a capital S for string for the data type as well. So yeah, just like off the wall just did, give me a thumbs up if that worked for you. Give me like a smiley face, give me an emoji, give me anything. And I'll move on if it worked for everybody. Cannot find a class with the main method. Okay, that might be because you copied my code like exactly. So here, you're gonna wanna change this to the name of your file. So I have public cast yip because I have yip.java, but you are gonna wanna do public class and then change that to the name of your file. Hopefully that's it. And then also make sure this line is correct. It's public static void main parentheses, string, bracket, bracket, those are brackets, and then args, parenthesis, and then the open curly brace. Make sure you have the closed curly brace. Yeah, hopefully that fixes the error. Let me know if it's still happening. It's con east dev, not con east dev. Oh, okay, thank you for that correction. I get it. That's my one pet peeve with Java. Oh, the capitalization. Yeah, it's pretty annoying. I don't see any thumbs up in the chat or any emojis. Is this not working for anybody else? Want to make sure that it's working for y'all. Is it only? Ooh, yay. Okay, I saw a thumbs up. Hopefully it's working for y'all. Yeah, this is also pretty annoying. Like I was saying earlier, like it's so annoying because I'll just be like trying to make a class and I'm like, why is it not working? I can't figure it out for the life of me. And then I'm like, oh my God, I just didn't call it the same thing. Yay, glad to see it's working. I like that emoji. Irfan, yay, Roseanne. Okay, good. Looks like it's working for a lot of y'all. Let me know if it's not working for you and I can help you debug. I think it was Cutie that was having a problem. So if you're still having a problem, let me know and I can help you debug. So let's go over the code really quick just to understand what it does. So here we created a scanner that reads from the keyboard of the user. And then here in this .next line method, we're waiting for the user to type something and then press enter. We store that input in the name variable and then we print that like hello. So yeah, feel free to like mess around with it. We asked it for the age and we can do anything else. So that is a little bit about getting user input. So back to the slides, more content. So now we're going to talk about control flow, which is basically just if statements, else if statements. So Java can make decisions using an if statement. So you're about to see the power of if statements. So I'm going to do all this again. We're going to go back to our code. So Java can do like, if you got like an if statement and there's going to be some condition here. I'm not going to write the condition, just like this is just general. And then this is going to be like, do something, right? If true. SMTH means something, by the way. And then we can do else if we could do like condition 2. If that's not true, then like do something else if condition 2 is true. And then finally, we can do else. And we can do like do this if none of the above is true. So obviously there's a lot of red lines because it's like, oh my God, this is not a comment, but it's getting mad. But don't worry, ignore the red lines. This is not actual code that you need to be typing. I'm just typing it so we can have it in this like fun little IDE environment. Hoping that means a yes. Yeah, there you go. Hopefully that works for you. So yeah, you've got your condition, you've got your else if condition. So basically a lot of people will do if to try something. And obviously if that if isn't true, you're going to try something like else if this is true. And then this else is kind of just like a catch-all for everything. So like if none of this is true, you can have as many else ifs if you want, but you can only have one else. So if you have like so many else ifs and you're like, but if nothing is true, you just return something like here. So let's try something. Let's do another set of coding. We're going to do public class. Again, use your file name. And we're going to say public static void main, our whole spiel that we've got. Honestly, no. I was going to think we should just copy and paste it each time, but I think we should type it just so we get into the habit of doing it. So we're going to do int age equals 20, just for like a sample of things. I've been typing in Python so much that I'm like, it's been so long since I've coded, like properly coded in Java, that I'm just like not used to adding semicolons. Hello, Francine, thank you for joining us. Should I rewatch the video from the beginning to get Java on VS Code or download Java from the link you provided? You don't actually, since we're already like halfway into it, you don't need the Java extensions. Like it's fine. Prioritize like getting like involved in this content. You can download the Java extensions. It's like super easy. You just go to this like fifth button here on VS Code, and you just search up Java extension pack, and it's this by Microsoft. So you can download that and you're good to go. Make sure you follow those instructions on the doc. Link you provided, perfect. There's also another. Let me send that again to you. Use that link, Francine. It's the Google Doc where all the download instructions are. You can follow along for now. You might be a little bit confused if things get too confusing. Definitely go back and start from the beginning and watch that video. Like no need to watch the video live. You can always go back and rewatch the video, but also feel free to code along with me live because I'll be explaining things. Some things just might be a little bit confusing, but feel free to ask me questions if anything is confusing. I'm more than happy to answer. Hopefully that helped. So going back to our code, we're going to do int age equals 20 just for a sample, and we're going to do an if statement. So I'm going to do a little like age check here. So I'm going to do if age is greater than or equal to, and here's another one of our operators. So we've got like greater, less, we can also do greater than or equal to. So I'm going to do if it's greater than or equal to 18, I'm going to do a print statement. So system.out.println, and we're going to tell them you are an adult. And then what we can do here is we can do else, and then we can do system.out.println you are a minor. And so here I've already set our age to be 20, just for like sake of time, but we can see how this program runs. We run it, and since we're 20, it says you are an adult. Sorry if you can't see that under all the mumbo jumbo, but it does say you are an adult here. But let's say you're like 90. Are you still an adult? Boom, you are. What if you're 10? You are a minor. There you go. So that is an example of if-else statements. And your conditions have to return true or false. So like I showed in the comments earlier, these are your conditions. And these, like whatever is in this parenthesis has to return true or false, like the Boolean true or false. That's how the if control flow operates. It needs to have something, because obviously if it's true, it'll go here. If it's false, it'll go to the else. And you can even nest like if statements within each other, because Java's really good at complex logic. So we talked about if statements and if else statements. Yes, of course, let me know if you have any more questions. And now we're going to go over, we're still going to be talking about control flow, but a little bit about loops. So loops help you repeat code without copy and pasting like a maniac. I feel like for a lot of code, I usually just copy and paste, unless I'm using loops, because loops are super useful. So let me go back. We've got like for loops, while loops, and do while loops, and those are the three that we're going to cover. Those are the three main ones. So I'm going to do just an example again. I'm going to do it in comments because it's starting to annoy me. I think this is the multi-line comment. Yeah. Oh, let me show you how I did that. Sorry. So this is just a single line comment, but if you'll notice, if I type here, it's going to throw an error again. So if you want to do a multi-line comment, so something that spans multiple lines, you're going to do / and you're going to do an asterisk, and you'll see it generate something else. Just click enter for all the lines that you need to have your comments on. So I'm going to do for, and I'm going to do, so this is a for loop. You use the keyword for, and you should use a for loop when you know how many times you're going to loop through something. So it's like a set number of times. So for loops require 3 different I guess, constraints within the parentheses. So first we're going to declare an integer, and we're going to set it to like 0, for example. And then we're going to declare a condition where the loop will iterate. So I'm going to do I is less than 5. And then I'm going to add another semicolon, and I'm going to do I plus plus. So let me go over what each of these are. So this, you're setting the integer to something. This, you're doing a condition to make sure that the integer is less than something. And here, you're incrementing the integer. So in each loop statement, what we're going to do, we're going to have it print out what the count currently is. Print ln. You can use anything, but typically it's convention to use like an I in the for loop condition, just because that's kind of usually how it works. But feel free to do what you want. So you've got that, and that's what you're going to be using for the for loops. That's kind of how you run them. So you've got your int and then your less than. So what it's going to do, basically how it's going to look like, is here it's going to go through first I is 0, it's going to increment it, it's going to be 1. Then it increments I. So it goes 2, then it goes 3, then it goes 4. And now it's going to go 5. Here, since it says I is less, actually, sorry. So yeah, it's going to go to 4. Here, it's going to see the 4, and it's going to go, and it's going to increment the count, or it's going to add, it's going to, oh, sorry, it's not +1, it's plus I. Oh my God, I was so confused. I was like, I know this is wrong. So here it has 4, and now it checks the statement again. 4 is less than 5, that's true. So it adds the count, and now it has 5. But here's the problem. 5 is not less than 5. 5 is equal to 5. So that breaks out, and now we stop running the for loop. And that's how for loops work. Then we've got our while loops. So let's say we're setting int I equal to 0, and we're going to do a while I is less than 5 again, just keeping with that consistent variable and value. Then again, we'll just copy and paste this. I'm noticing I spelled system wrong. Yeah, so here a while loop just basically iterates until something is false. So you'll want to use a while loop if you want to repeat until something is false. So while this condition is true, while I is less than 5, it'll just keep going through the while loop. The second that I becomes equal to 5 or greater than 5, it'll stop iterating. Finally, we've got our do while loops, and that's going to be, we're going to set int I equal to 0, just like we've been doing, and this is a do loop. So our do loops are very similar to our do while loops. Basically, we've got while. So they're structured a little bit differently, but they do basically the same thing. So we've got our do loop. This is what you're going to do. And then this is the close bracket. So it's like this is the do part, and this is while. So you'd want to use this if you just want to run this code once. So for like more efficiency, that way you're just doing running the code. It's like this is what you're going to be doing, and you just need to keep doing it until I is greater than or equal to 5. So those are like a quick introduction into what loops are. And loops should genuinely be your go-tos when you're working with things like arrays, real world example like menus, and just like tasks that are very repetitive. So that way you're not coding the same thing over and over again, and you can just use a loop to automate it. So now we're going to move on to an exercise. I know I've been talking a lot at y'all and lecturing a lot. So we're not lecturing, teaching y'all a lot. So now we're going to put our skills to the test with a calculator program. I was telling y'all like a big theme of this stream is math, and that's going to stay true. So we're going to build a simple calculator, and our calculator is going to take two numbers, and it's going to take an operator, and it's going to calculate and print that result. So when I say take, it's going to be like, we're going to ask the user for input for this number and for this operator. So code along with me. Let me know if I'm going too slow or too fast, and I will adjust the speed based on what you want. Okay, so we're going to do our import statement again because we want to get the input from our user. And the only way to do that is to import our scanner. So now we're going to do public class yip. And I'm going to go a little bit faster because y'all are Java pros. You know what I'm doing, but let me know if I'm going too fast. And don't do public class yip if that's not what your file is called. Call it what your file is called. Do public static void main string args and our open bracket. And then we're going to do scanner. I'm going to call it my scanner, and I'm going to do new scanner and then system.in because we're calling it for input. Then I'm going to do system.out.println like we've been doing. I'm going to ask the user for their first number. Do enter first number and end quote. Oh, I forgot to even start the quotes. That's funny. Going too fast. Enter first number. And I'll add a space so that there's a space in that output. And then I'm going to store this as a double. Just in case our user wants to enter in a double, we can add an extra functionality and add in that double. So I'm going to call this one a double, and I'm going to do number 1. And we're going to do scanner.next. And remember, we did next line, next in, just like that, we're going to do next double. And sorry, it's actually going to be my scanner because that's what I called it. So if you called your scanner variable something else, make sure you are using that variable name. Okay, and then we're going to, I'm just going to copy and paste this for like time's sake, but type it out if you can. We're going to enter our second number. And I'm going to call this number 2. And again, we're doing scanner.next number. So I'm just going to copy this again for like layout purposes because we ran a little bit over when we were setting up the Java. So I'm trying to speed up so that we can get to the rest of the content that I had planned for y'all. So then we're going to have the user enter an operator. So what they want to do with those two numbers. So we're going to do enter operator, and we're going to give them some options. We're going to do plus, do minus, we'll do multiplication, we'll do division. So those are the operations that they can use. And then we're going to end it with their operation, put a space, and we've got our semicolon, good to go. And here, so the operator is not going to be, actually, I want to see what y'all think. What data type do you think the operator should be? See some questions. Should we delete any previously written code for the new code to not produce any errors? Yes, definitely delete that previous code. You can write it within the same class. It actually doesn't really matter, but just so that you're not having like a bunch of output all in the same place, yeah, feel free to delete that code. We don't use next string, but use next double. Oh yeah, so we are using next double and next int because those are the data types. But for string specifically, it's just the way that the language is programmed. Instead of next string, it just takes next line. It considers the string data type to just be like a line of input. Hopefully that answers the question. It is not string. Hopefully that helps you narrow down what operator it could be. So what data type do y'all think this is? I will highlight you if you get it right, so please go ahead and answer. If you remember back to our original data types, we had like double, integer, float, like character. What do y'all think it is? There you go. A second later, I thought about char. You're correct. It's character. Thank you for that, Mango. It is char. So we're going to be using char there. Ooh, looks like somebody else commented. Yep, you're correct. It's char. Lovely. Good job. So here we're going to do char, and I'm going to call this operator, and I'm going to use scanner. So it's actually my scanner. That's what my variable is called. Ooh, there's a random comma. My scanner.next dot char at 0. Ooh. So just for some context, this is another method that I've added. So it's going to be char at, and basically what that means is I've given you a character, and you are going to take the character at that index. So let's just say that like your user is like confused and gives you like 3 different operators. You just want that first one. So that's why I'm adding this in just as a precaution, just in case there's like an extra space or something, because then it gets confused and it takes the space as a character. So by doing index 0, we avoid any of that confusion and we do that. So now that we've done that, I'm going to create a variable, and I'm going to do I'm going to call it result because this is what we want to use to store our variable. And I'm going to put, so this is an example where you can declare a variable without giving it a value instantly, just because we don't know what the value of result is going to be, because it depends on what numbers and what operators the user asks for. So we're just going to define it, but not instantiate it and put variables in it. So I'm going to add in some code. So switch is a fun method, that like a statement that we can use to kind of iterate through the way that we want our code to work. So I want to introduce as much of Java basics as I can to y'all. So instead of using basic like if else if like else if, I'm going to show y'all how to use switch. So you can switch is basically just a way that you can go based on cases. So every time you have like a case, so it's like case instead of condition, and you use these cases to determine what you're going to do. So here I'm going to call a case, and I'm going to say if the case is plus. And I use a colon here, not a semicolon. And I'm going to say result equals number one. Number one plus number two. And I'm going to use the break statement here. So break is just saying like break out of this specific spot and like break out of the current loop and move on. So that helps you so that you're not like stuck in this infinite loop or like just stuck, and it helps you just break out of that specific spot. So then we're also going to do the case. So I'm actually just going to copy and paste these for all our cases. So I'll have to keep typing them out. And we've got 4 cases, so that is enough. So we're going to do our minus, and then we're going to sub in our minus operator. We're going to break, and then we've got our multiplication operator. Do the same thing for that. You see how there's a red line? That's because you can't have multiple cases, like a duplicate case is not allowed. And then we're going to do our divide. So here's the thing. With division, we have a couple of problems with division. So you can't divide a number by 0. Hopefully y'all remember that. It's like just not possible. It's like illegal. Depending on what stage of math you're in, you might know like why, but just for now, we just know that it's not divisible by 0. So we're going to check if the user is asking us to do that. So we're going to do if num2, because that's the number that's being divided, is not equal to 0. Then we can proceed as normal. And then we'll just do result equals num1 divided by num2. Oh, I called it number for like ease of understanding, but now it's just complex. And you'll notice that we don't have brackets here. That's because within the switch and the cases, you don't need the brackets. So here, what we're going to do is now we're going to do else. You will need the brackets for else, though. It's just for if that you don't need it. But it's good practice to add it, so let's just do that. And then we're going to go to our else statement. And we're going to say else, we're going to do system.print, system.out.print. This is why it's important to type. Sometimes you'll forget. And we're going to do cannot divide by 0. And we're going to tell the user that and be like, don't do that. You can't divide by 0. And then you're just going to return. And the reason why we're doing return is because you've already given this statement, and return ends the entire program that's running, and you want to end the program at this point because the user's given you a number that you can't use anymore. So that's what you've got. And then we've got our closing bracket, and then in between this closing bracket, after we've done this like whole loop, then we're going to do system.out.println, and we're going to do print the result. And we're going to actually add the result variable to that so we can get the genuine result. What did I call it? I called it result. Dog. That's not good. It is instantiated though. I think it's because I have an extra bracket somewhere. Let me double check. Aha, yes. going on? Okay, I think it's because usually when you run the code like this, it wants you to have something just in case none of the cases work. So let me double check it and see what I can do. Actually, let me just release that. Yeah, it's just because I didn't declare it. So let me declare that. So this is just like a quick debug. So if the user enters like an invalid operator, then you're going to have a problem. So you're going to want your user to do that properly. And it's also good practice to, what is it called? Close that operator. So we're going to keep that, and this time we're going to check if the Boolean has a valid operator. And we're going to just add in a really quick method here. So we're going to do Boolean valid operation, and we're going to set that to true. So right here, right before we go on to our character, we're going to create a new variable, and we're going to do valid operation, and we're going to set that to true. Just to check if it's a valid operation. So after that, what we're going to do is we're going to keep our cases the same. Our cases are fine. And we should close the scanner in general. So we're going to close it specifically here if it's not true. Right before the return statement, because once you do the return statement, it is closed completely. So let's do that. We're going to do myscanner.close before the return statement. So myscanner.close. It's just good practice to close the scanner. There's not really any like rhyme or reason or like negative thing that will happen if you don't close it, but it's always better. And then after that last statement, we're going to do a break, and we're going to add a default use case. I think it's just because it's been a long time since I've used cases and like switches, so I forgot momentarily, but I remember now. We want to use a default case just in case none of these cases are true. Like I was saying, you want to be able to get output regardless if none of the cases are true. So we're going to print, and we're going to tell the user you provided an invalid operator. Period. Show them that we're mad at them. And since we're still in that default, we're going to set the valid operation variable to false. So now that we know that operator is not variable, we know that the operator is not valid. So with that, after we do that, we're going to do an if statement, and we're going to check if that operator is actually valid or not. So we're going to do if valid operator. So here is a fun little thing that you can do. Instead of saying checking, or sorry, not operator, operation. So instead of checking whether or not the valid is like instead of saying like equal true, you can just do this, because remember, this condition within the if statement has to be true or false. So it'll only go if it's true. So you can just do the variable name. So that's a little hack if you don't want to write more code. And now, instead of putting the code here, we're going to do it right here. Oops, I messed that up. It's actually outside of this. Is it angry? Sorry, I'm just trying to troubleshoot really quick. Give me a second. You know, it might have been easier to just use if-else statements. I wanted to give y'all some more options, but maybe I'm a little too rusty. Also, let's just close it outside just in case it doesn't go through that. Oh, I see some comments. Yes, BB5K, you were correct. It is default case. After close, we can again declare a new object. So we're not necessarily closing it. We only close it if this specific statement in the else statement is true, like in this case. Let me actually just add those brackets. Maybe that's messing with it. That's not the problem either. What are the other comments? New scanner object, or should it always be at the end of the doc? We're not creating a new scanner object. We're just closing the current scanner object. That's like, we're not creating a new one. Yeah, we're just closing the current one. Let me double check. Or actually, even when doing this, let's just go ahead and not do any of that. Even if this is true, you still might not be able to return something. So we're just going to go ahead and default set this to 0, so that if it's returning 0, then you know that's not the right output. So let's do. Yeah, so that should fix the error that we were having, just setting it to a default value. Let's go ahead and check that. Okay, so it's going to ask us, enter first number. I'll enter like a 4, enter 7. Let's say I want to do multiplication, and it returns 28.0. So that's perfect, and that works as it should. So I want to hear some suggestions. Only print when result is not empty. Yeah, we could also do that. Yeah, it's kind of just like, the problem that it was saying was like, if I don't instantiate this like here, if I just have it here, it gets mad because it's like the local variable may not have been initialized. And I think that's because even if it goes through all these cases, and even in, oh my God, I'm so stupid. I just have to set the result to like 0 here. Yeah, I actually think that fixes it. Let me try that. Yeah, that does. Okay, so, okay, let me tell y'all what the problem was. So basically, you have to make sure that your variables are instantiated by a value at all points. Otherwise, Java will get mad and it's like, why doesn't it have a variable? I can't run the program without that. So the thing with switch is that all of these cases are changing the variable of result, but there is this odd case if we're dividing by a number that's 0. So here we have it like, you tell the user you can't divide by 0 and you close the scanner and you break. But the problem with that is that that means that the result variable hasn't been updated. So that's why we've got our default case, just in case something goes wrong and we tell them you provided something invalid, you don't have a, so we honestly don't even need this anymore. We don't need this like valid operation thing. It's like trying to find a workaround, but there's no need for that anymore. We just delete that completely. And that will still work because now we've set a default value for that. So again, we'll do the same operation for 7, 28, or, oh, sorry. I got confused. I was putting it in for the calculator. And 28, perfect. So if there's any numbers and operations that y'all want to see, put it in the chat and I will ask our calculator that. But give me a thumbs up, give me an emoji, give me a it's working in the chat if your program is working as well. And I know those last couple of minutes were a little bit confusing because I was trying to figure out what exactly was the problem. So if you need the code, here it is. I'm not seeing. Oh, okay. Yay. Con East Dev. I got it now. Thank you. Good. Glad to see that it's working for you. Is it working for anyone else? Does anyone have any specific input that they want me to try and see, perhaps? Okay, if not, we're just gonna move on. Hopefully it works for y'all. Let me know if it doesn't, and we can troubleshoot that. So that was our calculator program exercise. So now we're going to talk about strings. I know we've been using them a lot, but now we're going to formally talk about them. So one of Java's most used data types is actually strings. And a string is literally just like an unnecessarily fancy way of saying text. So like any names, any emojis, or not emojis, sorry. Yeah, actually emojis. Names, messages, or emojis, they're all going to be in the form of a string. I know you'd think emojis would be like a different type, but they actually are string type. And you declare them like normal, just like we've been doing like in age equals 2, you do the same thing, string name equals, and then you use double quotes to surround your content. So Java actually has a lot of super fun functions that you can use to test the string variables. So let's go over those. I'm going to, again, delete this code just so that I can start a new function, but y'all can also just make new files if you want to keep this code and refer to it later. I'm just gonna, I don't know what that is. Okay. I'm just going to keep this up and delete it so I can keep this fresh for y'all so it doesn't get confusing. I'm going to call my public class. Again, I'm going to call that main method, public static void main, string. And so I'm going to declare a string because this workshop is about I'm going to call it title because this workshop is about Java. I'm going to do Java. So remember, it's just like the same formatting as before, except we're just going to use double quotes because it's a string, like it's text. And I'm going to show you 3 different methods. So let me show you what those methods are here first. So we've got our length method, and this is just like how long something is, so how many characters it has. And then we've got our char at, and then we can pass in like an index value. So this is going to get the character of the string at a specific position, just like we saw we were doing char at 0. Then you've also got the substring method. So you pass in 2 parameters and it start at like 2 numbers, integers, and you get like the substring of something. So if you want to get the substring of the word substring and you just want to get the word sub out of it, you will start at index 0 and end at index 2. By the way, in case you didn't know, everything is indexed starting at 0. So S would be at index 0 and U would be at index 1. Then finally, there's a lot of methods that you can use on strings. We're just covering these 4 because these are like the main ones, and another string. So you can also use the equals method. So you use one string and you do dot equals to check if they're equal, and they have to be the same exact strings. So let's check that. Make sure there's no comments. Okay, so we're gonna check that. We're gonna do system, and we're gonna text all of these methods. Print ln, and we're gonna do title dot length to get what the length will be. Then we're gonna do system dot out dot print ln, and we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna do title dot character at, and I want the character at index 2. And then we're gonna do the same thing for the next method. So we're going to do title.substring. And I'm going to do, maybe I just want the first 2, so I'm going to do 0 to 1. I just want T and I for like T, like a shirt, like a T. And then I'm going to do system.out.println. And I'm going to do title.equals. And again, I'm just going to do the same thing to Java so that it should say return true. So I want to hear some output from y'all. Give me in like a text separated by commas, tell me what you think the output is going to be for each of these statements. So do like 1, 2, 3, 4, something like that, to tell me what the output's going to be. And I'll wait on y'all to see if you're grasping these concepts. Let me know if it's not making sense and I can help. And if you feel like you can't get all of them, just send me one of them. Just tell me which one it's for. Actually, I'll know which one it's for, but just send any of them. I want to see that y'all are getting it. Ooh, Con East Dev coming back again with the answers. Okay, 4JJ and true. Okay. That is good. Is anyone else potentially want to give me an answer so we can get a couple of responses here and check? I'm not going to say if it's right or wrong. Anybody else? Gonna wait for one more minute. Ooh, okay. Got another response. Mango thinks it's 4VJ true. Okay, okay. Okay, so we're just gonna try it and we're gonna see who's correct. Thank y'all for both of your responses. We're gonna try that. 4VJ true. That was our response. So Mango's got it here. Ooh, Mudit also got it correct. Yeah, so it's index 2. You caught your own mistake. Great job. But yeah, it's index 2. The length of title, I'm not really sure. The length of title. I really don't know what that means. Please tell me if you have a question and I will try to answer it, but I'm not sure what that meant. I don't know if that was like a comment or a question, but yes, congrats to Mango and Mudit, and thank you, Con East, for interacting with this. You all got it right. It looks like Earphone's also chiming in. Yes, that's true. Good job. Y'all are getting it, and that's amazing. Yeah, so it's length 4 because 1, 2, 3, 4 Java, character index at 2, so 0, 1, 2. It's going to be V, and if we're getting the substring, it's just going to be from 0 to 1, so that's just going to be J. And it's equaling these two strings are equal. So something that you might be a little bit confused about, doesn't look like any of you were actually confused, but here for the substring, I know it, like, even though A is at index 1, you would think it'd be JA, but the substring only gets end index minus 1. So if you wanted to get JA, you would do minus 2. So that way you could get those last two, and we see like ja here. So I think ja means yes in German. So if any of you are German, I wasn't 100% sure if the end index is similar to Python, where the end index not excluded. Yeah, I think this is because I downloaded an extension. Like, I've honestly never seen this before. Usually it's just gonna be like it's just gonna be like 0,2. It'll look like that. But I think because the Microsoft extensions were downloaded, I think it automatically adds that in, which is good. I mean, it's interesting. It adds more context to the code. So yeah, that was our little demo about strings. And by the way, just in case you didn't know, strings are immutable. So basically what that means is once you create strings, their contents don't change. Every time you modify a string, Java is actually creating a new string. Any other object like what we've been talking about, so strings and doubles are mutable. So you can change their value, you can like add to it, but strings are immutable. So you will not be changing the original string if you try changing a string. And then we're going to talk about arrays for a little bit. So if you want to store like 5 different numbers, you could create 5 variables to store each of the numbers, but that's not really scalable or organizationally efficient. So we can use an array instead. And an array is basically just a single variable that can hold multiple types of the same type. So let me go back to VS Code and show you how we can create that. So in VS Code, we can do int, and so arrays, to create arrays, we're going to put the data type and we're going to put these brackets, and these brackets are what declare an array. And then we're going to do new int, because that's the data type of the array, and we're going to declare the size of the array. So that's one way that you can create an array, and we're creating an array of 5 different integers here. Oh, sorry. Oh, it's because I don't have a class. Okay, honestly, whatever. And so we can access them using going through like a loops, and specifically also accessing their index. So if we do this, we would get oh, sorry. Actually, before I do that, we should declare what the array is first. So we're going to do int numbers, and we can do 2, 3, 5, 7, 6, something like that. So these are two different ways that you can create arrays. If you've already done this, then all you just need to do is you need to do like number. You just need to have this numbers equals this. But these are two different ways that you can instantiate it. This is going to be more useful, obviously, if you don't know what's going to be in the array, and this is more useful if you know what's going to be in the array. And then you can access it using the index. So 0, 1, 2, that would be 4. So you would get the fourth element here. And if you want to loop through all the elements of an array, you can do 4. Again, we've got our int equals 0, and we've got our semicolon I equals, and you've got to do, if you want to get specifically that array, we can do numbers.length using that method again. .length can be used for arrays. It's just that instead of using the parentheses like we use for strings, we don't use parentheses. And then we do I++. Okay, it's just throwing errors because I don't have like a class. And then we're going to call our thing, and we're going to iterate through it. So basically what this is doing is it's printing each element in the array by iterating through it. So arrays are fixed in size. So once you create an array with like 5 elements, for example, like using this example that I've typed out, you can only have 5 elements in that array. So that's just like a quick little basic about arrays. And let me talk about methods for a little bit. Let's skip that practical exercise. So we've got methods, and methods are one of the most important tools in programming. They're basically just like blocks of code that are named that you can reuse. So you can think of them kind of as like your own custom commands that you're writing yourself. So you've been seeing method names previously, but let me show you like kind of a small example of that. So again, we're doing like our public static. So let's say we're going to do like int add. So here's our method. We're going to call, so we do public static. That's just the declarations that we use. We use the data type here, and then we use our name of our method, and then we pass in the parameters. So what are going to be used in the method with their data types along with that as well. So here within this method, I'm going to say like, I want you to return a plus b because I want you to add these two. And boom, there's your method. So to call this method, to like use this method, we're going to do like int result equals add 5, 3. So here we're calling the method by this name that we chose, and then we're passing in 2 integers matching that data type and using that. So you always have to make sure, and see, you can see it's auto-populating here, A and B. You have to make sure that whatever you're putting in these parameters matches what you put in your method declaration. And this public static part is just meaning, like, all it means is that the method belongs to the class and it can be called without creating an object. So if you don't want it to return anything, you can just do void. So if you just want it to do something but not return something, like maybe update in value, so like result equals A plus B, and you're calling it within another function, feel free to do that. So that was another example. And we're going to cover object-oriented programming in our last couple of seconds. So object-oriented programming is kind of like a step up from basic Java programming. So now we've been writing programs like top down and like rewriting code for everything. But as your code grows, you need something more scalable. And that's why we have object-oriented programming. And you might hear like OOP, that's what it's for. So object-oriented programming, so I'm just gonna say OOP because it's a mouthful to say it every time. But it's all about modeling real world, like, I guess, concepts using code. So you build your programs around objects, and they're kind of like little packages of behavior. Your objects can do things. And Java organizes things in a really neat way. So you've got your classes, and they're kind of like blueprints. You've got your object, and like I was saying, those are actual instances of your classes. And then you've got your fields, so your variables inside the object, like age or name. And then you've got methods, and those are functions inside the object. So for example, let's say you had like a person class. Within this person class, an object would be like Bob. And Bob is a person. Bob is an instance of the person class, like an example of that class. And then Bob's fields could also be like specific fields of Bob. So like Bob's name, Bob's age. And then Bob can have methods like increase Bob's age. Bob had a birthday, increase Bob's age. So that's like kind of an example that you can do. And you can create objects using this as well. So you would just have to use the same terminology that we did. You would have to call that class name, use the variable name equals new, and then use that class name again with the parentheses. So that would be a way that you can use object-oriented programming, and that's kind of what that means. So we can also add a couple different what is it called? Concepts as well. So in terms of object-oriented programming, so I'm going to just give like a broad overview of all these concepts. So we've kind of got constructors, and that's like a special method. We've talked about methods in general, but constructors are a special method that we can use to create objects. And that's what we saw before with like the parentheses and creating that specific like method. It looks very similar, but now you're passing in parameters or variables into the parentheses, and you're setting whatever you're passing in as those numbers. So that's what a constructor is, and it's really useful because then you can create an object from a class very, very easily. Then another OOP concept is encapsulation. So with encapsulation, you can keep data safe, and you can keep like this data safe using variables like private and using like get and set methods. So if you want to keep a variable, like for example, using our people class example, you don't want anyone to be able to change the name or the age of your people object because obviously you can't just do that. No one can do that. You've got to be able to do that. So then you would want to declare a variable as private. So previously we've been doing like string name equals like Bob, but here you would do private string name and you would declare that at the beginning of your class so that way you can have a variable that no one will be able to edit. So if you want to change those variables, let's say like Bob has a legal name change, you would use like getters and setters. Those are get methods and set methods. So to get the name, you would obviously create a public method that could get that name. And then you would also create a public method to set that name. So no one can natively change that name, but if you call those methods, then that way you can change variables that may be private. And this concept of being able to keep your data safe is called encapsulation. Then we've got inheritance. So inheritance is super cool. So if you want to create like kind of like another class, so you've got person, person's cool, but person is also a student. So you create a student class. So you want to have extra like variables within the student class, like variable name, variable ID, things like that. So you can extend the person class. So you would do like public class student extends person. And by that, you can have the student class and that extends upon the parent class, and the parent class being the person class. So that way you can get every single method name, variable, and every piece of information that's within the person class to be used in the student class. And that's the concept of inheritance. You're basically reusing code by building upon existing code. So those, and there are also like one last important concept is polymorphism. So with polymorphism, you can have one method and many behaviors. So this is like a bit of a harder concept to grasp, but it's basically where you can have one method and you can like call one method. It can have one name. So like if we had our like set like a, for example, like if we had a method that was saying hello to the user, but it wanted to say different things based on like who the user was and what the user's name was, you can use that same method name, just change like the input, the parameters to that method. And that's polymorphism. You have the same method name, but a different behavior depending on what object types are being passed in. So those are the four basics of object-oriented programming in Java. We've got encapsulation, abstraction, inheritance, and polymorphism. So those are just like a quick rundown of object-oriented programming. And that might seem like a little bit abstract and a little broad. You're like, oh, but why does that really matter? It's more important for when you start coding more things in Java, and when you start scaling up your code, you will need it eventually. I'm going to skip that practical exercise. Yeah, these are just like best practices for debugging. I talked about like really important things for debugging, like making sure that you're not missing semicolons, making sure that you're not missing braces, and checking your logic errors. So read your error messages that come up in VS Code in your terminal carefully. It'll help you. And print statements also help you debug as well. So for a couple of further resources, because this was just like a basic intro session, and I want y'all to be able to have the resources to cover more information if needed. There's a lot of online tutorials for websites like W3 Schools is really useful for Java, like LeetCode, if any of y'all are on that software engineering grind. LeetCode has a lot of Java problems, like practice problems that you can learn. And someone said like java.dev is very useful, and it does look like a very useful website. So those are a couple of resources for further learning. But that's the end of the content for this stream. Thank you all so much for paying attention. I know that end was a little rushed, but I'm trying to wrap up before 2 p.m. so Quinn and Yash can get to their stream. But thank you all so much for listening. Hopefully that was a useful stream about the basics of Java and the basics of like just the Java programming language. If you found that useful, if you liked it, if you have any feedback that you want to give, please fill out that feedback link. I just sent it in the chat and it's highlighted on the screen. Really important to us that you give us feedback for the stream and help us with any feedback that you have so that we can make this experience better for you. Hello, there will not be a part 2 for this stream. I know it might be a bit confusing because I did 4 parts for the web dev stream, but this is just an intro to Java. I know it's like a little rushed and a little like a bit just an intro, but definitely in the future, at Global Hack Weeks, keep an eye out because I want to do a deeper dive into Java and some more concepts. So make sure that y'all go just like hop on over to Quinn and Yasha's stream. Let me pull that up for you. It's coming up right now, and they are building a web scraper in Python. So here is the link for that. Feel free to join their link. Oh no, Intro to Python is at 4 a.m. in my time zone. That's so unfortunate. Don't worry, you can watch the video after, but if you're up, feel free to join. Yes, of course. Thank you all for joining. I'll hang around for like 1 more minute until 2 p.m. for questions, but if anything happens and I'm not in the stream, just at me in the Discord and I'd be happy to answer. But it's 2 o'clock. I'm going to let Yash and Quinn do their stream now, but thank you all so much. Bye.